What's going on, everyone? Back here for episode 5 of Upstate Talks. Me and Dell, this is gonna be a really fun episode. We got UFC 276. I mean, what a stacked card. We're gonna be talking about that for a little bit. We're gonna be dropping a couple videos on that. Tomorrow is gonna be a full day of Upstate bets. We're gonna have MLB videos. We're gonna have the pod coming out. We're gonna have two UFC videos. Tomorrow is gonna be a full day of content for everybody to enjoy. And we're going to be talking a lot about the NBA free agency. I mean, a ton of moves are going down, a ton of trades. A couple people want to get moved out of their situation. So sit back, relax, enjoy. Let's jump right into it.
Yeah, man. Kind of raw thoughts here on NBA free agency, man. As a Spurs fan, Reoz is. What's your take on the whole DeAndre Murray thing?
Oh, it's awful. I mean, we got three first round picks.
Dejounte. I'm sorry, I said DeAndre.
No, you're
Dejounte.
good. I
Yeah,
was gonna.
Dejounte.
Hopefully, we get DeAndre Ayton. That'd be nice,
Right. Yeah.
considering we're just gonna lose everybody.
Yeah.
And then it was tough to see Lonnie Walker leave and sign with the Lakers. So I don't know. We're in a full rebuild. We're gonna have a ton of draft picks come next year. They talked about some dude in the next draft, 2023 draft. They're looking to get the number one spot. I mean, the way we're just getting rid of everybody on the team, it won't seem too hard to be the worst team in the NBA. I mean, next year is just going to be absolutely rough to watch my Spurs, but I'm a little disappointed. I mean, DeJounte Murray coming off an All Star season, you would think we'd get a little bit more, but he's going to play really well paired up with Trey Young and being able to get the ball to John Collins and Clint Capella. I mean, he's going to absolutely thrive there.
Yeah. I mean, you know, people are gearing up for Victor Wembanyama from France.
Yeah,
He,
yeah.
he's like 7'3" prospect, super sleeky. I mean, I saw a picture of him next to Chet Holmgren a couple of days ago. I started really looking into him. I saw some hype about him. A couple analysts like the Nick Wrights and like the Skip Bayless guys are kind of in on him right now. I mean, he's definitely a hyped up prospect. So next draft should just be just about as good as this one. We put out our last podcast, kind of talking about the draft a little bit. If you want to go check that out, but yeah, the this free agency class is not as powerful as a lot of them were, but some of these moves, especially after this season, you kind of realize that a lot of these moves are kind of make these championship teams. I mean, you think about the move that Boston made to kind of bring in Derek White. He might not have had the best finals, but and just little moves like that can really change your, the whole direction of your season. So. I like free agency, especially when people like this are kind of moving around. Like you still have a couple pieces, and I guess the biggest piece we're kind of looking at here is Kevin Durant. So what do you think about Kevin Durant? Where he's gonna go? I mean, I know he was interested in Phoenix and Miami. What's your take on him?
Yeah, I mean, Durant, I don't know. I thought with Kyrie opting in and staying with Brooklyn, I would have definitely thought KD would have done the same thing, but he wants out. I mean, I can definitely understand why he wants out. It was such a disappointment dealing with everything that went on last year. Uh, it is what it is. I mean, Durant's one of those guys that you just see every single year. He just wants out of his situation, and I mean, he's a superstar. Unfortunately, for whatever team gets him, they're gonna have to drop a bag on him, which definitely sucks if you're trying to pair him up with a couple superstars. But I also saw there's a possibility where Durant and uh, Kyrie both get traded to the Lakers.
Yeah, I mean the whole Kyrie thing to the Lakers, I feel like kind of got shut down. I just don't really see what kind of moves like the Lakers make from here. I mean, nobody wants Westbrook. The Lakers are kind of like in no man's land. They're always just that team that gets brought off. But I really can see Durant in Phoenix. I think it's a great fit. I think you can kind of package together like, if they kind of do like an Aiton sign and trade kind of thing. Whether Aiton feels the need to kind of owe them that because they've already came out publicly and said that they can get the same production out of a center um, that Aiton was giving them on a way cheaper deal. So they're kind of really ruining whatever thing they had with Aiton there. Aiton looks like he's about to sign somewhere else. Could be your Spurs. But Detroit, it's definitely a possibility. We'll see what goes on with Aiton, but I definitely can see KD there, and maybe you do a little Aiton Bridges and a first, maybe two firsts. for Durant. But the notion around Durant right now is just not very good. I mean, Kevin Durant's Kevin Durant. He's going in, I believe it's season 16, which is definitely a lot of seasons. Um, don't get me wrong, for Kevin Durant, that's a lot of miles on a dude, and especially he's had a major injury for sure, but he's still Kevin Durant, man. So, um, I do think he's gonna have I don't think longevity is a problem for him. I think he's still going to play at a top tier level. He's still a top five player in the league, no matter where he goes. And then the kind of Miami thing, they came out and said they wanted Bam Adebayo. Would you trade Bam Adebayo in a package with say Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson? I don't think maybe you throw Lowry in there, but maybe you to get someone back like a Seth Curry on the Brooklyn side. But say Duncan Robinson, Hero, Bam Adebayo, and a first for Durant.
No, I definitely wouldn't do that. I think the core of that Heat team is just so good that they. Well, the thing is, you're losing one of the top centers. You're losing a bunch of perimeter shooters that really helps out Jimmy Butler and Bam. I mean, but not only that, you're losing so much for one particular guy that yeah he is a superstar, but we've seen now that he really needs a good team around him. I mean, he had that stamp early in his career with OKC when he had James Harden and Russell Westbrook. They weren't able to get it done. Everybody thought when it was Harden and Kyrie. Uh, Unfortunately, Kyrie missed a ton of games just because of the COVID restrictions and everything, but he can't just do it on his own. These teams around are way too stacked, and when you're losing just three core guys on a team just to get Durant, it doesn't make any sense. And you're also losing the defense ability that Tyler Hero brings, Duncan Robinson brings, Bam Adebayo brings. So I don't really like that move, but to really just break down these free agencies, people are getting the bag. In a lot of ways, it's kind of crazy. I mean, we see Jalen Brunson get $104 million 4 years with the Knicks, which is absolutely crazy to see. A lot of role guys are getting moved this offseason, which is kind of crazy to see.
Yeah. I mean, I think to finish up kind of on the Heat thing, you know, it is a lot. I don't think Butler. I mean, you hear together. I mean, Lowry, Butler, and Durant enough to win some games, but in terms of a final appearance, you kind of look at what you got there. In Brooklyn already with Kevin Durant, Ben Simmons, a bunch of shooters. Like, you're kind of going into. I mean, there's the whole Heat culture thing, but they lose PJ Tucker in free agency as well. He got guaranteed money. He's 37 years old, got like almost 40 million guaranteed. So he's one of those dudes getting the bag for sure. But yeah, I mean, there's maybe it's a dark horse team. Particularly, I think Oklahoma City can offer him the best package. Wherever I know it's his choice. Player empowerment. Is kind of a real thing. Even across all leagues, they kind of choose where they want to go, and that deal kind of happens. So we'll see what happens. But like you said, in terms of teams giving players a bag, like the New York Knicks, the whole Jalen Brunson deal kind of went through. Over $100 million for Jalen Brunson. Had a solid playoffs, average over 20 points a game in the playoffs. But when you're rolling in with that Knicks squad, I mean, when you look at a team, Jalen Brunson, R.J. Barrett, Alec Burks or Fournier, and whatever's of whatever version of Julius Randle you're going to get, whether that's 2020, 2021 Julius Randle, who was an All NBA caliber player. Now, last year you get Julius Randle, who was average, not better than
He had
average, but
spurts where he was really good.
yeah, but he was an All NBA player, like he was, when he first went to the Knicks. That's what made the Knicks a playoff team. And whoever you roll out in the center, Mitchell Robinson. I mean, also Obi Toppin is there too, who's a solid piece. Don't get me wrong. Cam Reddish to have him too as well, who can turn into something solid. So we'll see. I don't know if I really like what the Knicks are doing. I mean, they're younger. Brunson's younger. Struggles as an off-ball shooter. Um, could develop into a solid defender. I don't think he'll ever be like an elite defender, but slight overpay for Brunson in my opinion.
Oh, I think it's a huge overpay. I mean, he's not going to be the superstar this team's looking for. I mean, it does kind of free up RJ where he doesn't have to run the point. You can have Jalen Brunson really run the point for this offense now. But I mean, he probably didn't want to play second fiddle to Luca his whole entire career if he's just going to stay with the Mavericks. I mean, it is kind of weird you would leave Luca, just considering how just dominant he is when he's on the court. But 106 million is just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, it's pretty much what 20 a little over 20,000 a year for a
Million,
role
yeah,
guy.
yeah.
So
I mean, I wouldn't say he's a role guy. A fringe all star one day in his career, I definitely could see. I don't think he's like, consistent all star. Probably not an all NBA player at any point in his career. Um, but it's just the direction. Teams are spending so much money on some of these players, and like I don't think it'll go down as one of the worst contracts, like the Chandler Parsons contract. The John, obviously John Wall's a good player, but in terms of a contract, like one of the worst contracts we've seen. But there's some bad contracts. I don't think it'll fall into that category as a bad contract. I think Jalen Brunson is still like developing, and it will be a solid piece. But I don't think it's going to propel them into like a fourth, third, even higher than that seed. I mean, I don't see that at all. I still see them probably as a playing team.
yeah, without a doubt. And I mean, your guy Bradley Beal, 5 year, 251 million dollars, got the max contract. I mean, honestly, I could see John Wall going back to the Wizards. He's a unrestricted free agent. He's gonna get the buyout from Houston,
Oh,
which I definitely saw
he's already
coming.
with LA. He's already with the Clippers.
Oh, he is. I don't know why I
Yeah,
forgot about that.
yeah,
That's going to be a really good dynamic with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard.
yeah. Even whatever's left of John Wall, it's great, great pickup by them. Absolutely.
That that's a huge pickup. I can't believe that slipped my mind.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was nice to see James Harden come out and he's going to restructure his contract just to kind of help the team. I mean, that's one guy that he really wants to win a championship, and it's really nice to see guys like James Harden, who I mean, he could go anywhere and get a max contract with any single team, and he's going to take less money to kind of build around. They definitely don't need a superstar there. I mean, with Harden and Embiid can definitely get it done. Tobias Harris is phenomenal. We saw really great spurts from him that kind of probably made James Harden think over in these playoffs like, all right, Tobias Harris is still a 2015 guy if we need him. So uh, really great to see out of James Harden. Then we got Simons signing a 4 year, $100 million contract with Portland. I think that's actually a really good signing.
Yeah, well, they could have got him for like 50 million if they did it a year before, but it took Damian Lillard to go down to kind of like see what Simons was made of, because they probably could have traded him for pennies on the dollar last year. But I mean, Lillard going down, you kind of got to see what Anthony Simons was about, and yeah, he's just a very solid player. Um, I think it's a pretty solid contract. I'm kind of curious to see what they do. I mean, they got some high play players now. In terms of Jeremy Grant, we'll see what they do with Nurkic. You know, uh, it's interesting what's going on in Portland. For the Philly stuff, Maxi's still developing. I hope, with all this news of people wanting out and trades, I hope they don't give up on Maxi and trade him. I think Maxi's going to be an extremely solid piece one day in this league. He's going to be very elite. He fits alongside James Harden so well. Love Maxi. I think he's the third best player on that team. And we look at a couple other guys like Bradley Beal on the Wizards. The only thing that scares me about that is him getting his bag and then him, obviously collecting it and then wanting out a year later. Like I said, player empowerment and the way the players can kind of dictate where they want to go and how much say they have. Let's sign this. Let's sign this contract and let's be a bad team again and let me get a trade out of here and still get my guaranteed money. So if I was the Wizards, I probably would have traded him. I probably would have looked for something just in case he doesn't do that, because we give him his 240 million. Now he wants out, and now another team. Now it's gonna be harder to trade him because another team's gonna have to take on that contract.
Yeah, and that's a huge problem when superstars sign these contracts is when they want out, they don't realize that they're going to be tough to move. I mean, that's almost like Russell Westbrook right now. No one wants to deal with that contract with somebody who has just continued to show that he just doesn't gel with the rest of his team. He needs to be on a crap team and get his triple doubles and be the superstar. He does not like to sit back and watch Anthony Davis, LeBron James do their thing. But I don't know. I'm really waiting to see with this Kevin Durant news and Kyrie Irving. Um, they both of them will not be on Brooklyn next year, but it's definitely going to shake up the league if they stay together and they get traded somewhere. We're going to see a blockbuster deal, which I definitely did not think was going to happen this offseason.
Neither did I, man. Like I said in the kind of the beginning of all this, I was looking at it just like kind of role players as moving parts. Kind of like Aiton was at like the top of the list of this free agency. Kind of like, oh, where's Aiton gonna sign? Um, maybe a couple moving pieces like a Miles Turner could have got moved. Obviously, you have Miles Bridges for the Hornets. He had to, he's dealing with all the legal issues now, but he was a name that was kind of eligible for like a max contract. So, you're kind of interested in the Beal stuff, John Wall. Like there was definitely some pieces. However, it wasn't like, that 2019 where like overnight you wake up and like Kawhi Leonard and Paul George are on the Clippers. And it's just like what you know what I'm saying? It's just there's
Yeah,
certain things like that aren't happening this year, but it's been solid, man, and I'm really excited to see what plays out in the next couple of days. I mean, free agency period. I don't know what time it ended. I think it ended at like I don't know. It goes for like a couple hours, I believe. It starts at like 6 o'clock and goes for a couple hours. But trades are gonna happen all the way up right into the season. So yeah, super excited for that.
yeah. You want to dive into this UFC card?
Yeah, man. UFC 276. This is kind of like the UFC's premier weekend. In terms of like the whole Fourth of July thing. I mean, they're a huge international sport. Like I mean, probably the biggest. Just in terms of like the face of the league being so many different international people, or not the league. You know what I'm saying? Um, it's just this is like their weekend. I've watched a ton of videos over the course of this week leading up to 276, and this card looks like it's gonna be one for the ages, man. And as a bettor, this is an opportunity for you to make some real cash.
Oh, I love this card. I mean, you can never beat two title fights. I'm really happy to see Max Holloway get redemption. He should have won the second fight. Now he gets Volkanovski, or however you say his name, Alexander the Great, as he wants to be called. But he should have won the second fight. He should have the belt right now. They should be 1-1 going into this trilogy fight. But I'm glad Dana White kind of came to his senses and made this card. I mean, uh, Volnot or whatever his name is. I don't know why I can't say it. Hopefully, I'll get it right for the UFC video. But he just absolutely smashed Korean Zombie. I mean, it was just not the best fight to watch. But Max Holloway has shown time after time that he's just gonna beat up on all of these guys ranked 2 through 10. I mean, Max Holloway is probably one of the best boxers. He's got incredible stamina. He's been a title holder for so long and has competed against just every single greatest fighter in his weight class and the weight class above. So this is going to be awesome. We got our boy Sean O'Malley fighting on this card, finally fighting against another striker. So we're gonna see a lot of big fights, a lot of big knockouts. We got Sean Strickland, who's just an absolute maniac. No one wants to spar with him because he is trying to kill you. So this is gonna be a really good card. I mean, Robbie Lawler's fighting on this card. Uriah Hall in the prelims. So this card is stacked from the main card to the prelims. So this is gonna be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, at the top of it too. I mean, just one of the best shows you're gonna get in the octagon. Adesanya's fighting, um, you know, just a guy that really can put on a show just from the entrance, in terms of the in the ring actions. Definitely as a guy, if you're not into the UFC, I say this is one that you kind of stay inside for and check it out. Don't go out this Saturday. I know it's Fourth of July weekend, but check out the fights, man. Especially if you never got into UFC. This is definitely gonna be one of those ones that are probably like sucking a lot of people, in my opinion. Like you said, two title fights across the board. Even the prelims are stacked. I look at this card as one that'll definitely make some new UFC fans.
Yeah, without a doubt. And this is actually the first fight where I really think Israel could actually lose. Cannonier is like an absolute phenom. I mean, he's got that body build that Yoel Romero had, but he's not as big and bulky. He's real slim. I mean, what a great fight him and Derek Brunson had. The winner of that was going to fight Israel. and I'm glad it was Cannonier because he is just an absolute phenom. I mean, all of the rituals he does. This is really going to be a fight for the ages, and this could definitely go down in history as one of the greatest title fights in the middleweight division.
Yeah, I mean, the way he's been going about, his press conferences, very quiet. I mean, he's an interesting person in general, but his story's been nice. Adesanya is already booking he's already, I think he's already 2 fights in, booked. So I mean, he's the type of guy that can dial it in. I mean, he's one of the greatest middleweights ever. If you want to, Silva, 1A, 1B or whatever, but, um, it's gonna be stacked, man, and I recommend highly checking out. We do betting video for UFC and we do a prize picks video. So whether you're a player props guy or you're just kind of into like sports books, 2 videos out for that. Definitely go check them out.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna be exciting. We're about to record those right after we get done here with the pod. But you got anything else, or should we wrap this up?
No, I'm all set. I do think that maybe after free agency is all over, maybe we can dive into kind of like an all like free agency recap. Once Durant and those guys get moved, kind of like the off season frenzy. I have a couple ideas I'm going to get into for some NFL future stuff. PrizePicks has a lot of stuff in there. In terms of over unders on like total yardage, say for like a running back at Jonathan Taylor's at like 1,400 yards. They got passing yards for quarterbacks and stuff like that. I'll dive into some fantasy football stuff. So I might upload a couple YouTube shorts, or if not, I'll dive into like it's either going to be a YouTube short really quick, or it's going to be like a 45-minute video of you guys just listening to me just talk about sports. So Reoz is doing his thing on the MLB as well. So it's going to be interesting time over the course of the summer on Upstate. But I really thank you guys for sticking along.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, check out the Patreon. We're doing a summer sale, 50% off for two for the price of one. Instead of $20, it's only 10. I mean, we're cranking out MLB content, early main slates. We got UFC over on the Patreon with player props and bets. I've been covering a ton of golf, so highly recommend joining the Patreon. I mean, tomorrow when we upload this, it will be the 1st of July, so no time better than the first of the month, early on in the month. Check it out. Everything will be linked down in the description below. But we appreciate you guys sticking around, watching to the end. Hopefully, you guys made it here. Me and Dal love doing this. But comment, like, subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.
Peace.